Hi everyone, and welcome back to STEM Simplified. In our last episode, we built a basic personal website using HTML and CSS, and we kept it clean, safe, and beginner-friendly. Today, in episode 2, we're taking things up a level by adding JavaScript, the language that brings websites to life. By the end of this video, your site won't just look good, it'll do something too. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's do a recap. HTML gave our site its structure, like the bones of a building. CSS gave it its style, like paint, furniture, and design. Right now, it's like a beautiful picture frame, but nothing inside it moves or reacts to us. That's where JavaScript comes in. To use JavaScript, we first need to link it to our HTML. In the same way, we linked CSS with the link tag. We'll use a script tag instead to connect our JavaScript file. This tells the browser, hey, after you load the page, also run this code. It's like inviting a friend to join the party. Again, I know this can seem confusing, but today we're focusing on just knowing all 3 language basics to make an actual website. In the coming episodes, we'll backtrack and learn more of the specifics and syntax to improve our websites even more. So now, let's add something for JavaScript to work with, a button. This is one of the simplest ways to see interactivity in action. Buttons can be used for anything, opening menus, sending forms, or triggering animations. But for now, we'll make a button that says click me so we can see our JavaScript respond. So now, let's go add in the JavaScript to our websites from the last video. Remember this? Be sure to pull your website up as well as the link, which I will again link in the description box. So now, let's look at what I've added. In the HTML, we've added in a new interactive button plus a message. In the HTML, the button tag creates a clickable button that says click me. The P tag creates a paragraph that shows the message hello visitor. Both the button and the paragraph have unique IDs, my button and message. IDs are like name tags, so we can easily find and change elements with JavaScript. We'll talk more about IDs in the next episode. Now we can see this basically is what the visual part of it is. But now, remember, we have to go style it. So let's go to our CSS. This right here, up until line 15, is our old CSS. And after that is our new CSS. So let's go through and see what we've added. So, in CSS, we styled the button and the message. The button gets a teal background, white text, some padding, rounded corners, and a pointer cursor so it looks clickable. When you hover over the button, it becomes a bit transparent. That's the opacity change. The message text is styled to be clear and nicely spaced. We also have a special style for when the body gets a class called clicked. It changes the background color to a lighter teal. But now let's go through the very specifics. So, this hashtag right here is talking about the ID, but again, we'll talk more about that in the next episode. Right now, we're taking this button, changing the color of it to the same green, changing the color of the text, adding in no borders, adding in a border radius, which basically rounds the button. We also added in padding, which is basically the gap between the text and the rest of the button. So if I were to increase the padding, the distance between the text and the end of the button would increase. Then we change font size, cursor, and margin top. Margin has different ideas. So margin top means it moves 20 pixels down from the last text or last element. So that is why it is lower here. Now, let's talk about cursor pointer. When I hover over it, you can see my mouse turns from a clickable arrow to a hand. That is basically what that CSS does right there, and it lets the user kind of intuitively know that this can be clicked. Now, let's go to button hover. So basically, when you hover over it, it changes the opacity of the button to 0.9, which is why when I hover over it, there's a slight difference and you can see the color kind of pale a little bit. Now, the hashtag message is again talking about the text right here. This is basically setting the font size, the margin from the top, and the color of it, which is black. And then, once you click on the body, the background color turns into this other color. We will go over this later because this links to the JavaScript. So now let's go to the JavaScript file and see what we added in that area. So, we use JavaScript to bring everything to life. We use constant to create variables, button, and message that store references to the button and message elements on the page, which is using document.getElementById, and then we're using the relative IDs for the elements. Then we're creating an event listener, which is basically like almost a function. So we're doing button.add event listener, click, and then it's completing the function below. So basically, then we add an event listener to the buttons. This means when someone clicks this button, you run the code inside. When clicked, the text inside the paragraph changes to "you click the button" by updating message.text content. Message as in the ID and text content as in the actual attribute we're changing. Then we enter in what we're going to change the attribute to. Finally, we have a class on the body element. If the body doesn't have this class, it adds it, changing the background color. If it already has it, it removes this by switching the color back. This makes the background color change every time you click it back. I know that sounds kind of confusing. Basically, once you click on the button, it changes something in the code, and it basically adds a class or ID to the body itself. And so that class will change the tag in the CSS. If you remember, if it's body clicked, it'll change the background color. So now I hope that makes sense, but let's try out our website now. When I click the button, you can see the background color changes to a darker green and the text right here changes to "you click the button." We can click the button over and over again, and although the text isn't changing, the background color is, and that is what the toggle is doing. So now that we've added the JavaScript in as well as the HTML and CSS, you've upgraded your website. Now let's go back. Now let's talk a bit about how it works even more. When you click the button, JavaScript listens for that click event and runs the code inside the event listener. It changes the text in the message to say "you click the button" and toggles a special style on the page that changes the background color. This is how interactivity works. An action happens, JavaScript notices it, and then responds. Every interactive website you use works in essentially the same kind of way. And that's our first step into JavaScript. Now your website can respond to a click. And in our next episode, we'll explore how to make it even more interactive with more events, styles that change on click, and fun animations. We'll also talk more about syntax. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check the description for today's code link. Thanks for watching STEM Simplified, and I'll see you in episode 3.